Now they're finding their big bodies. So now comes Cogsworth. They quest up with everything, taking them to 5. And that... What? Did I shuffle your deck? Are you sure you shuffled your deck, my guy? Could not believe. And then they declined the rematch. They were like, I ain't doing that again. Decline. I need some support here. That's not normal, my guys. Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today is the next deck profile and gameplay video on the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at some Amber Ruby Stitch Blitz. Now this is a deck that recently performed very well, weekend just gone, date on screen now, was the first official event post Into the Inklands release, and there was a 101 person tournament in Germany hosted by Battle Bear. And in top 4, we had an Amber Ruby Stitch Blitz that was piloted by Max K3 is the username that I've been given for this person. And when I first looked at this list, and I know I'm not the only one either, because I saw Lorcana Goons did the same thing. I looked at this list and I was like, oh cool, this is Redfasa. Wait a minute, there ain't no Mufasa in there. No, and apparently I have read that at the tournament, the Max K3 in question, someone went to them and said, why aren't you playing Mufasa? And their response apparently was, Mufasa is not a 2-cost or less character. Which is totally valid because that's what this deck wants. So we're going to be taking a look at the deck. I've got 6 games to show you. 2 of them are short. There are wins and losses. Timestamps, as always, for you to skip to the relevant parts that you find the most interesting. For the sake of, we've had a lot of new subscribers on the channel the last few days, which I'm very grateful for. Welcome to my humble abode. But yeah, just a little synopsis on how I like to do a deck profile. I like to get out a lot of content. So that means playing a deck 10 to 30 times and then giving an initial impressions of how it's feeling. And that is very much the case with this deck profile. I've played 15 to 20 games. I have feedback. I do not claim to feel like I have played this enough to have the most informed dissection of it and to completely adequately give you its success rate. All I can do is tell you how it's felt piloting it in a small amount of games. There is something to be said, of course, for spending longer going over a deck and like really finalizing all my thoughts about it and then releasing it when I've got a more informed decision. But that would drastically decrease the amount of content that I am able to get out. And which isn't a bad thing. Like, I'm a huge fan of people like Steadfast and Zephyr. If you're watching me, you probably know them, and if you don't, then you should go check them out because they are some of the best content creators in the game. And yeah, their content is a lot less regular. I heard Steadfast on the Citizens of Lorcana podcast the other day talking about how he goes about it, and it's very much I like to spend like weeks sometimes even playing a deck. He likes to play it with actual cardboard and then make a really informed decision. And there's absolutely, I respect that completely, and there's absolutely room for that. And my hope is down the line I will do those. Like season 2, I did a really in-depth scripted video on Mufasa once I felt like I'd played like 50 to 100 games, and when I felt like I had a lot to say about it, that felt more informed. I will always make that distinction if this is a first impressions or if this is a I have tested this deck into the ground and I feel like I have good takes to make. So I just want full transparency about that because someone else could pick up this deck and do a lot better than I did. Max K3 led it to top 4 in a 101 person field, so you've got to listen to the data. For me, it didn't feel greatly consistent, but again, not the biggest pool of games. It's something that I would like to come back to, but when it does pop, it is a lot of fun. It is one of the funner decks that I've played, and it can win. So let's go through it. One of the stars here is Rockstar Stitch, who is a 6-cost inkable but can shift for 4 on top of one of our baby Stitches. 3/5 stat line, quest for 3, and adoring fans. Whenever you play a character with 2 cost or less, you may exert them to draw a card. So we've got lots of characters that fit that mold. We have 28 2 or less cost characters that we can put down and immediately draw a card by exerting them with a Rockstar. And we've also got 4 copies of the new Lucky, the 15th puppy, 4 cost uninkable 2/3, quest for 1 and 2 abilities. 1 is good as new, exert, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put each character card with cost 2 or less into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So again, lots of targets for this for some nice hand refresh. And the second ability is, and they called it Puppy Love. Sorry. Whenever this character quests, if you have 4 or more other characters in play, your other characters gain +1 lore this turn. So it does have to be 4 or more other characters. Lucky doesn't count as the 4th. You essentially have to have a minimum of 5 characters, including Lucky, which is a bit of a big ask. But again, we are running so many low-cost characters. We are running characters like Stitch that can zoom other characters out. We've got things like Pluto who can make us pay even less to extend our board. So this can be a realistic field more often than you may think. Obviously, we are very scared of things like Be Prepared and Grab Your Swords. But thankfully, one way that we can combat that is the new song, Bare Necessities. 2 cost inkable, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. So this is hopefully going to help us check those Be Prepared, those Grab Your Swords, and even just like Lucky is quite fragile, and as soon as you can, well, you can put him down earlier than 4 if you're using Pluto, but outside of that, soonest he goes down is 4, by which point things like if you're against Steel, then Smash is online, along came Zeus is online, he will be a target for removal, and quite often he doesn't live to see Puppy Love or Good as New, but you can create situations where if they don't have it, they don't have it. And we can influence that a little bit if we play an early Bare Necessities to snipe that Smash or along came Zeus out of their hand. Another character that really takes advantage of our 2 or less cost characters is the new Perdita, Devoted Mother. 6 cost uninkable, 1/6, quest for 2. And come along, children, when you play this character and whenever she quests, you may play a character with cost 2 or less from your discard for free. So obviously I've already implied the use of just building a big board to go with Lucky and give them all plus to their lore, so you can be really aggressive. And there's also combos you can do here. You can bring back the Blue Dog Stitch that you can shift onto him. Simba is a bodyguarder, which is going to have its use. We've got Snow White, whose ability will immediately activate once she's played if there's a target that fulfills the condition. LeFou is a really good one to bring back because he immediately re-readies the Perdita that just quested for him, which keeps her safe. And Perdita getting back Stitch, Little Rocket, is one of the funnest things I've ever done playing Lorcana. Putting her down immediately, Stitch from the discard, challenges into something, and then nearly always banished unless you're challenging into something like Cursed Merfolk or something else that has only 0 strength, or a location that can be really good for that. But yeah, just being able to play all these little rockets from the discard out of nowhere feels really, really fun. Concerning card draw, like I said, the adoring fans can draw us more cards. We are running 4 copies of Rapunzel, really important, and sometimes hard to get off because we don't have loads of great targets. Mother Gothel is one of the best ones, obviously, coming into play with 3 damage on her, and she's a 2 cost character, so she fulfills all the other requirements we want. But we don't have a lot of other characters with bigger willpower. There's a few, obviously the Perdita, the Stitch, and the Pluto are your real targets for this, but if you're going for a turn 4 Rapunzel, or even turn 3 using Pluto, we don't have a lot of options for characters with big willpower to get a massive card draw off of that. At the best, it's probably Simba or Snow White, who we'll talk about other options for the deck in a minute. But yeah, there aren't tons of options, but later on in the game, if you've managed to get down a Maui, Perdita, Stitch, or Big Pluto, then yeah, Rapunzel's going to get you a lot of value. And we're also running 2 copies of Sumerian Talisman, a 3 cost inkable item, Source of Magic. During your turn, whenever one of your characters is banished in a challenge, you may draw a card. So obviously we're losing tempo by losing a character, but we're drawing a card with Sumerian Talisman, so hopefully we are gaining more. We're not losing as many resources as our opponent. If we're trading, say with Little Rocket Stitch, then at least we're drawing a new card for Sumerian Talisman. And once you've done this more than once, then the Talisman's paid for itself. I tried Sumerian Talisman in Pirates, and it wasn't doing a lot for me. But in this deck, it does feel quite good. And just, again, the extra card draw. We've got 3 copies of Teeth and Ambitions, which I do think are important for opposing aggro. Cursed Merfolk is a common card to see. Like Emerald Amethyst Tempo is just one of the most common decks, and being able to remove those low aggro characters can be really important. Again, we are a bit more restricted in characters we can use it with early game. Really, it's only Simba and Snow White who you can reliably do it with for like if you want to sing Teeth and Ambitions on turn 3 with a character. Then you can put down Minnie or you can put down Snow White and they'll survive it. But Teeth and Ambition is still a really powerful card. Just a 2 count of Maui for the removal. I have felt like 2 was enough. I mentioned the big Pluto that can shift onto our baby one who lets us get characters out cheaper. This came up a couple of times and you can get him down from turn 3 if you're able to play Plutos on turns 1 and 2. So that's pretty good. We've got the new Piglet here, Pooh Pirate Captain, 2 cost inkable, 2/2, quest for 1. And I'm the captain when you have 2 or more other characters in play. This character gains +2 lore. So again, building a nice wide board is the name of the game. We got 3 copies of Stylish Surfer Mini. Doesn't fit our 2 cost character requirement, but she's cheap. Not everyone is running evasive answers. There are evasive answers, like against Ruby Amethyst, they just have things like RLS Legacy. Although worth saying, I have not run into Ruby Amethyst once since the ranked ladder reset. No one seems to be playing it, not that I've run into anyway. But yeah, Stylish Mini is still a problem, and we're an aggro deck at the end of the day, so she still fits our overall theme. A nice early curve to make is if you go turn 1 Pluto, and they take their turn, and then your turn 2, you exert the Pluto with Good Dog, and then you're able to put down both Stitch and Simba, so the Simba is protecting the Pluto, and then you're ready for a turn 3 shift into Rockstar Stitch. Alternatively, you could put down a second Pluto and Simba, so that Simba's protecting your exerted Pluto, and you can start your next turn still with 2 Plutos on board, which can help you get out the big Pluto, as I said, or the Maui if you really need it. Getting down Lucky early can be nice, just because again you reduce the options they have potentially for hard removal, and again just getting that card draw early game is really important. You should get hits off of this more often than not, drawing a minimum of 2 cards with the amount of 2 drops we've got. You can miss, and you'll see me miss a couple of times, but I don't think there was a single time I didn't draw any cards. Sometimes it hurts to only draw 1. But yeah, the fact that he's got both these abilities with Puppy Love, you spend the first few turns building a wide board and keeping yourself safe as you can, and then Lucky just playing Puppy Love and just giving you a zoom-in lore is what we want to do. That's the name of the game, and just aggro our opponent and blitz the field. Like I mentioned, steel can be tough. You can combat it with bare necessities, but Grab Your Swords can really destroy our board. And obviously they have things like Smash and a Long Game Zeus, like I've mentioned, that can really upset our Luckies and take away our win condition. I haven't played against any Ruby Amethyst, but again, the Be Prepared to watch out for. But again, hopefully that's what we're using the bare necessities for. But yeah, the deck feels okay. I misplay for sure, as always. I think I played it okay. It's all right. Max definitely piloted it far better than I have in my games that I've tested so far. But it is fun. It's definitely one I would recommend giving a try. And I dare say a better pilot could lead this to a top victory again, because when it is popping off, it does feel very strong. But yeah, that's just about it. In terms of options for other cards, I played the list as is, the way Max built it. You've got the 1 cost uninkable Lilo for some extra aggressive questing. We're currently at 15 uninkables, and there were a couple of times where like that I got really messed around by having too many uninkables, and I'm not sure what I would want to cut uninkable wise for another one. You could probably cut 1 Perdita. I think that would probably be fine. I wouldn't want to cut the little rockets. They're too good. Lucky's too important to our overall strategy. Pluto's important as well to be able to get like blitz the field as well as we can. So I mean if you want to take up Perdita, or you could go up to a higher uninkable count if you want, but I would be hesitant. There's things like Felicia and Gaston who are 1 and 2 drops with hitting for 3 and 4. Obviously they're susceptible to like really low damage cards like Fire the Cannons. Even just putting a Tink down on the field gets rid of Felicia, but that's the case for a lot of our characters anyway. And if you want something that can check opposing boards, be my guest. I would probably, the one change I would probably make is I would change the 2 Snow White for Wendy Darlings, just for the extra questing. Snow White has its uses. You can heal the Mother Gothel if you're not like planning on using it with Rapunzel, just so that she can hopefully get more value. Being able to instantly heal if Perdita brings her back is a nice combo, and yeah, like sometimes that 2 damage heal is going to be relevant, but she didn't put in a lot of work for me, and I feel like I would rather play the Wendy Darling. And there's the new Simba Scrappy Cub, who's a 2-cost uninkable quest for 3. Same as what I just said about Lilo, like it's reasonable to want to go this way to just be more aggro, but I just don't know what I'm cutting. I think one Perdita is fair enough to cut one. She's still to it. I wouldn't go less than 3. She's really good. But I wouldn't want to cut any other uninkables. So unless you're happy going to a higher uninkable count. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's, again, just my initial impressions about some play testing with the deck. And let's show you some games. Are you looking to buy some Lorcana singles? Then you know what you should do. Check out Cardmarket for all your trading card game needs. Okay, so I actually had no intentions of showing this first game because I did my first practice game on a burner account, which is in wood. I haven't touched it since season 1, but I wanted to get a little bit of a feel for it before I actually went onto the ladder. But it ended up being against someone that was playing an established deck, knew what they were doing, and I thought it was a pretty good game, so I am still showing it. The rest of the games that I show are all in gold. But yeah, just full transparency, this was in wood, which is the bottom rank of Pixelborn, but it seems that this person was similar to me, using a burner account to test out a deck, so we're going to show it anyway. So we're up against Emerald, Amethyst. So we're going second for game 1. We get rid of those uninkables. Pluto is what I want to see turn 1. Nice to have the Stitch line already here. Nice to have the Mother Gothel. I really want to look for Rapunzel. I probably should have inked Mulligan the Piglet as well to try and look for it. But this is what we do. So we draw another Pluto and a Stitch. They ink a Merlin Goat and down goes Chernabog's Followers. We draw Lucky, ink the Stitch and throw down Pluto. We want to start getting benefit from the good dog, although we need to be careful obviously because the Chernabog's Followers is checking us for 2 damage. Pass over, they ink a Maleficent. They quest up, they choose not to draw, keeping their body on the field, makes sense. They throw down 2-cost Flynn Rider and pass. We draw Rapunzel, we ink the Piglet. We do choose to use the good dog. I throw down Mother Gothel and Stitch. I know this means that they are taking out my Pluto, but I've just replaced it with another one, and I'm pretty much fine with it. They ink a Goat, throw down a Kit Cloud Kicker, and they choose to bounce the Pluto back to my hand, which is fine, because either way takes away a turn 3 Rapunzel for me. So it makes sense. They quest up to 3 and pass. We draw another Lucky. We throw down both our Plutos and pass. I choose not to ink. I know that next turn I can play this Rockstar Stitch or I can play this Rapunzel. So I'm quite happy not inking. You don't need to go up to a huge amount straight away. If you can, then do it, but I didn't want to give up the 2 cards in my hand. So we pass, they ink a Flynn Rider, throw down Maleficent to draw an additional card, and then they extend into the Cursed Merfolk. They quest with Kit, quest with Chernabog, but they do not draw, and they quest with Flynn Rider, taking them to 7. Passing over to us, we draw Perdita. We use the good dog. I need the card draw. I forget. This was one of the situations where I really got messed around by not drawing another inkable, but there you go. I do choose to get rid of the Rockstar Stitch. I think it's more important to draw here, especially with this hand where I don't have any inkables. So we heal up, plus the Mother Gothel can now be quite aggressive into the opposing field. So we draw 3 cards. We do choose to take out Kit Cloud Kicker, and I take out the Flynn Rider. I'm happy to discard one of these Luckies. That's absolutely fine. Pass over to them, just controlling the board a little bit. They trade their Maleficent into our Mother Gothel. They take out our Pluto. They ink a Chernabog's Followers, quest with the Merfolk, and throw down the Queen's Castle. And they do immediately move their Cursed Merfolk to the Queen's Castle. Which I would have probably moved Kit, because I've already got more reason to want to get rid of this Cloud Kit. To be fair, I can take them both out with my characters. But anyway, pass over to us. We ink a Mini. I choose to sing the Teeth and Ambitions. We sing it with Rapunzel, put the damage on her, and take out the Cursed Merfolk. I trade into Kit Cloud Kicker, so no additional draw for them. And then I'm able to throw down a second Rapunzel to get some card draw. But they go up to 11 lore, courtesy of the Queen's Castle, and they throw down another one. So I very much have hand and character control, but they are way ahead of me with 2 big old locations. We draw a Pluto. Thankfully, we've got a little rocket in our pocket. We choose to just go in once and then quest, because I know next turn I can go challenge with rocket and then challenge 1 Rapunzel to take it out. So that's fine with me. We throw down Pluto so I can extend a bit more, and I do choose to ink the Bare Necessities. Yeah, with only 1 card in their hand, it would just feel bad to miss. We throw down the Gothel to extend some more, and again, because I want to take out these as many of these locations as I can. So this is another big body that can do so. They throw down a Rabbit to draw themselves a card. They move their Rabbit to their clean Queen's Castle, which makes sense. And obviously we go after that clean one because we don't want them drawing additional cards. So we do that there. We throw down our start lucky, ink the mini, quest up. They are going to gain 2 lore here, which takes them to 17. They trade into my Mother Gothel. They can, which is fair. They should assume that I'm going to take out this Queen's Castle on my next turn without too much of an issue. Just the little rocket and any other character other than Pluto challenging does the job. They throw down a Cursed Merfolk and a Madam Mim Fox, and this is where they throw. Because I can't deal with either of these. I've got Perdita in my hand. I've got no way of exerting characters. So this is, if they just end here, this is game. But they choose to, obviously they have to return the Cursed Merfolk to throw down the Fox, but they still have 1 ink. But they choose to go into my Stitch Little Rocket. And I'm assuming their reason for doing so was because in their head, okay, well if I do this and then throw down the Cursed Merfolk, you can't take out my Queen's Castle, so I'm going to gain 2 lore that way, and then I've got another 2 lore from the Cursed Merfolk. So in their head, this was just as fine to give them gain, but of course, this is something that I can actually deal with, especially with the Perdita in my hand. And we draw another one just for good measure in case we didn't have it. So we throw down this Perdita, and this gets to showcase our little rocket just coming in from the discard into the Queen's Castle, finish off with the Rapunzel, and then I choose to take the quest, get the additional lore bump to 12, because then that puts me in, I have game next turn. They throw down the rabbit, draw themselves an additional card. They ink the Ursula. They weren't able to find it early game and get use from it. They quest a 19, but I'm able to use the Puppy Love and just quest everything, and that's how the deck is meant to work. We'll go straight into game 2. I just keep the Rapunzel. I want to dig for the Pluto quite aggressively most of the time, but again, our card draw is lacking, so holding a Rapunzel or a Gothel is something I often prioritize. And we are rewarded with a Pluto. They ink a goat and they pass, missing a 1-drop. We ink Snow White, down comes the Pluto. They ink Flynn Rider, throw down the Ursula, who gets a big miss. We are playing songs, but there it is. Sorry, buddy, you were a turn early. We ink the Maui, throw down the Mother Gothel, only inking the Maui because I value these other cards in my hand too much. The Rapunzel and the Gothel for the card draw. I want a Baby Stitch down to shift into Rockstar, although worth saying your little rocket can also shift into him. And I know this, but I want to hold this bare necessities for when they do, if or when they do put down the 3-cost Ursula, so that I can immediately stop them playing Mother Knows Best or Friends on the Other Side. Mother Knows Best can be quite crippling to us. It's bearable because we can extend again quite well, but it is annoying. They do miss the Ursula, instead throwing down a Maleficent and pass to us. We draw Piglet, who gets inked. That's a good doggy, allowing us to put down Rapunzel for only 3, healing up the Gothel to draw cards. We sing the Bare Necessities with Mother Gothel, take away the Friends on the Other Side. I think something I was really bad at when playing Bare Necessities was taking note in my head of the other cards in their hand. I was always just like, have you got a song? Yes, you have. Click, discard. And then I'd be like, wait, what did you have? I need to get better at that. Excuse me. Pass over to them. They ink an Ursula. Go into our Pluto to take them out, and down comes a Queen's Castle. We draw LeFou. Down comes the little rocket and pairs up with the Gothel and the Rapunzel. Just immediately take out this Queen's Castle. We throw away the Bare Necessities. We throw down LeFou to re-ready our Stitch Little Rocket. And yeah, I do choose to trade that into the Maleficent, which I think is fine. They ink another Queen's Castle, throw down a Cursed Merfolk and a Fox, returning the Merfolk to their hand. Trade in, throw down the Merfolk again, and pass. We draw a Bodyguard Simba. We do some shifting things. Ink our Simba. Go into the trade with the Fox, go into the Ursula, quest up for 3, and pass. They throw down a Chernobog's Followers, quest themselves to 2, but now we're in a pretty nice position. They don't have a whole lot going on, and we've got 2 Luckies in our hand. We do draw the Teeth and Ambitions, which is used to sing with Mother Gothel, putting the chip damage onto Stitch. I take out the Chernobog's Followers. I don't want them drawing a card next turn. Like, next turn, if they want, they draw 1 for turn, and then they can quest and draw again, so I don't really want them digging, and I'm quite happy to throw away one of these Luckies. I think that's absolutely fine. They are very unlikely to have removal for it, bar Mother Knows Best, in which case you don't have an Ursula down, so fine, I'll just put it down again. So I do opt to do it this way. It costs me a card, but it means they're not drawing an extra card next turn. So I throw a Lucky and then throw the other one down on the field. They give me the Greetings. I'm not sure why. maybe a glitch, but I think more likely they've got two. I think they've got two genies in their hand. But they pass over to me. We draw a Simba. We use the lucky effect, and we get a 3-card draw out of it, which is like, it's games like this that make the deck look really, really good. And it can be. But yeah, we extend, get down our Pluto. He is an adoring fan, so we draw a card. I misclick here and bring Simba out bodyguarded, which means that Stitch can't exert him to draw a card. So do as I say, not as I do. Always bear that in mind, that if you bring the bodyguarder out bodyguarded, then Stitch can't exert them to draw a card. So be better than me. We quest up with the Gothel and pass, and now we've just got a nice whiteboard, and victory is mine. So again, that was a wood game, but they were playing as an established deck. They did miss the Ursula, which does matter, and there is another game to show you later on in this against Emerald, Amethyst, Tempo. But let's move straight on. This time we're facing Steel Amethyst, and we are against Disney Rebel, which is a name that I recognise. I've fought them a few times on ladder. They are a very good player. And we are going second. We get rid of, we get rid of this whole hand here. I should have probably kept the Stitch. But again, I really aggressively wanted to find my Pluto. I feel like that's quite important to your early curve to try and like get out in front. So I do choose to throw everything when I probably should have at least kept the baby Stitch, but we are unpunished drawing into them again. But we don't find a baby Pluto, we find the big one. They ink an Yzma, pass over to us, we draw Perdita, we throw away the big Pluto, throw down the small Stitch and pass. They ink a Beast Tragic Hero, down comes the Blue Fairy, which I think is the right way to play Amethyst Steel, in my limited experience with it so far in this meta. We do choose the ink, the Sumerian Talisman, which, yeah, in my head they're playing a whole new world, and I'm going to be getting lots of card draw anyway, but there was an argument this was the wrong call when I potentially should have gone Maui. But we ink it nonetheless, throw down a bodyguard Simba and quest with Stitch because I want to make sure the Stitch is safe against Madam Im Fox. They ink a Jafar and throw down a second Blue Fairy. We find Rapunzel, which we do choose to ink. I still think my Maui is important at this moment in time for the Jafar, so I've got an instant removal for it. But then again, if they whole new world straight away, then I'm losing that Maui anyway. But I can, yeah, in my head at the time it was just too important, but you could argue that was the wrong thing to ink there. But we throw down Mini, quest up with what we can, and pass. They ink a Tinkerbell, and they throw down the Dreadnought, which nets them a 2-card draw off of the Blue Fairy, which is such value. They quest up with both of their Blue Fairies. I definitely misplayed this turn. I think I quest with Mini when I should have challenged. I do throw away the Maui here, more from lack of choice, because I want to play this Rockstar Stitch. And yeah, I should have challenged the Blue Fairy that turn with a Mini, but I think in my head I was just like, you're Jafar, you can make insane jumps. I just want to outrace you, because obviously they can't attack into my Mini with Jafar, and they wouldn't be able to take it out with Stitch unless they went into Stitch first with both of their fairies. To be fair, they can Madam Im Fox and then finish it off with Dreadnought, but then I'd be taking out the Madam Im Fox, and then the Jafar's only got 1 health left, so I can finish it with Simba or something, or the Rocket Stitch in my hand. So that was my Fort Trail. We pass over to them, they ink Friends on the other side, and they sing, and then along came Zeus, and bye-bye Rockstar Stitch. They play out Robin Hood, they play another Along Came Zeus to get rid of our Mini, quest up with their Blue Fairies, and pass. We draw a Rockstar, down comes the Rocket. I want to take away this whole new world play from them. We ink the Stitch, because I'm committed now. I'm just playing lucky next turn and hoping he sticks, even though I've not got high hopes for it. But we just gotta hope. They ink, they throw down the Tragic Hero Beast, pass over, quest up. Oh, drew cards because of the Blue Fairy. Quest up, extend, and pass to us. We draw a Stitch, we ink it. I think, yeah, I own an R, but I'm just like, I need all the ink I can get. If I get a nice big hit off lucky, I might need to play multiple characters. Well, I'm definitely going to have to. So yeah, I'm just praying that my lucky survives, but even then, the game seems too far gone. They do shift into their Robin Hood, which gets them another 2-card draw. Look at all the value from Blue Fairy. Quest himself up to 14, and I surrender on the spot because the game is over. And they do decline me my rematch, which makes me sad. Just showing a really quick loss there. Deck did not work in that instance, and kind of just demonstrating the power of Blue Fairy and Jafar. But it's important to show losses. But I have another game here to show you against another Amethyst Steel Jafar deck. Going second. Yeah, I keep this entire hand, I think. Yeah, I'm fine with this. I've got turn 1 Pluto, I've got a turn 2 Simba plus Stitch. Mini's nice to have. I've got Gothel, I just need to find a Rapunzel for the card draw. Bare Necessities is going to be important against this deck to take out that Along Came Zeus or that Whole New World. Teeth and Ambitions for the Jafar. So I was pretty happy with this hand. They're going first though. The Ink a Snake, throw down a Captain Hook. We draw a Snow White who is inked. Down goes the Pluto and pass. They ink a Robin Hood. Throw down the Blue Fairy, quest with their Robin Hood, with their Captain Hook, and pass. We ink one of our Mother Gothels. Yeah, just best of a bad situation, really. I think in this game, I'd realised that I really should have been challenging into the Blue Fairies with my mini in the previous game. So I think I was like, no, I need this mini. I need the evasive answer to the Blue Fairies. So we throw down a Simba and Stitch, so I'm protecting my Pluto. They return the Fairy to throw down the Fox, and challenge in with... take out our Bodyguarder with the Fox, and then take out our Pluto with the Captain Hook. So, not feeling great. We ink the Teeth and Ambitions, which I would have ummed and ahed about if I wanted to play that, but I opted for the Sumerian Talisman, and here, I can only put it down to a misclick. I don't know what I was thinking, because I went on to Hook, I was like, no, you won't take me out. I need to go into the Madam Mim Fox, because 1, that's what will take me out and let me draw a card, and 2, I don't want you playing another Fox next turn and just keeping that healthy. And for some reason, I clicked Captain Hook. You see me nearly surrender here in a moment from Salt. Yeah, they throw down the second Fox, and I get so annoyed at myself, man. There it is, but I was like, no, don't stop being silly. Put it together, Baker. Continue with the game. So, pass over to us. We draw a Lucky. We throw down a Mini Stylish Surfer. I choose not to ink because I still really value this Bare Necessities. They throw a Maleficent, draw a card. Throw down a Blue Fairy again, quest up with their Fox and pass. We find a Rapunzel who goes straight in the inkwell. We throw down Lucky, because that's going to be my key to getting back in this game and getting some card control. And we sing Bare Necessities with Mini to take a look at our hand, and we are able to get rid of that Along Came Zeus. So that's really good for us. They throw down a Dreadnought, drawing an additional card off Blue Fairy. They get that Storm Rage on, which they play on Mini to draw an additional card. Quest up with their Blue Fairy and with their Fox. I trade into the Fairy, drawing a card off of the Sumerian Talisman. I then exert Lucky to get a little card draw. We are able to find 3 2-cost characters, so we draw them all. Just as a note, if you're piloting this deck, you need to click or draw on all of those or you won't draw them. So we get a nice hand refresh. I was like, okay, throw down the food, we re-ready the Lucky, throw away the Simba, throw down the Gothel, and pass. I could have played that turn out differently. I didn't want to exert Lucky again because he just gets taken out by Dreadnought, and then they draw another card as well. There's an argument to have played Teeth and Ambitions for the Fox, but I'm just trying to play a little reservedly here. They are able to find another Along Came Zeus, which they sing with Jafar to take out Lucky, which sucks. Quest with the Fox, throw down another one, returning the Blue Fairy, throw down a Maleficent, and pass. We draw another Perdita. We trade in, but we're able to draw off the Sumerian Talisman. We go in once with the Gothel to draw another card, and I am very lucky here to find the little Rocket Stitch off the top, which lets me trade again and draw another card. So showing the value of Sumerian Talisman in this instance, for sure. Throw down Simba, not bodyguarded, there's no point, he gets taken out for nothing. They quest with Maleficent, throw down the Fox to return it and throw it again. They're obviously trying to draw, they've obviously not got a whole lot going on, which is an argument why I potentially should have played Teeth and Ambition sooner. But we throw down Perdita, get back the Pluto, and yeah, I probably should have played Teeth and Ambitions here, I think. I think there's a good argument for it, singing it with the Simba, put the damage on Perdita and just take out the Maleficent. But I'm still on the lookout for Jafars as well. But they throw down Rabbit. I mean, I keep saying Jafar. I'm not even... Yeah, they're playing the Dreadnought at the very least. But I'm assuming they're playing the Striking Illusionist. Maybe we'll see it before the end of the game. We draw a Lucky. Yeah, I quest with Perdita to bring back LeFou, who immediately re-readies Perdita, so that's a nice little combo. We throw down the Lucky, and then finally I do choose to sing Teeth and Ambition. No, I play for it the hard way, put the damage on Simba, and take out that Maleficent. So now I've got quite a nice board. I've got some cards in my hand, and I can hopefully start questing more aggressively with Lucky. They draw, but they are once again able to find the removal and find the smash for the Lucky. They play Rise of the Titans to get rid of our Sumerian Talisman, recognizing how much value we're getting from it. They ink their Smee, quest up with everything. Took a long time to do it. Yeah, I think they actually forgot to pass because they give me a whoops in a minute. There it is. We exert Pluto with the good dog. Throw down my Perdita for 1 less to rush the little rocket back onto the field. We rush that rocket into Madam M Fox. We quest with the other Perdita to bring the little rocket back and quest and challenge into the other one. That's what makes Little Rocket feels really fun when you're doing that. And then we just extend. Would have been nice to be able to get down another lucky that turn. And there's the big bad grab your swords, taking out so much of our board. Challenging with their rabbits, take us to 4. We do quest. We bring back the little rocket to go into the rabbit, and then they draw a card, and then we quest with the other one to bring back the LeFou to ready, to ready the one that they could have taken out with their rabbit. So keeping us safe, and now we throw down the lucky, and I basically say, right, have you got removal for this again? Because if not, I'm very close to game. They throw down a rabbit, they sing friends on the other side, and they find another smash. They throw down Robin Hood and Captain Hook and pass over to us. We quest with Perdita. Who do I grab this time? I do grab the little rocket, take out that rabbit. I know they're drawing, but I don't want those characters sitting there and just questing and challenging my guys for free. We ink the Mother Gothel so that I can clean play Simba in Bodyguard. Quest with Perdita, grab myself a second Bodyguarder, and quest with LeFou. And now I'm in a position where I've basically got game if they can't completely upset this field. They do 2 damage into Pluto. Then they find another Grab Your Swords, which takes out our Perdita and our LeFou. They throw down Mr. Smee. They finish off finish off Pluto by challenging him with both of their characters, ink a Queen's Castle and pass. But thankfully, I'm still in a great position. Perdita getting such value, bringing that back to the LeFou to ready her again. I definitely should have played. No, the reason I didn't play characters there is because if they grab your swords me for a 3rd time, then that's my entire board. So I keep these so that if they go grab your swords, I can now go, okay, Stitch Pluto, have you got it again? If not, I've got game. So they go into the Simba with their Smee and they pass. And they decline me my rematch. No one giving me rematches, literally. No one. Next game, this one I'm showing just because it was funny. I mean, I wasn't laughing at the time, but I kind of was, through tears. We're playing against Sapphire Amber. Now watch this, my guys. Just watch this. Opening hand, yeah, we keep the Rapunzel, but nothing else. I want to find my baby Pluto, baby Stitch. Which we do not find. Well, we find a little rocket, but not the one I meant. They ink Rapunzel and pass over to us. We ink LeFou. That you definitely want at least one of these LeFou in your discard so that you can do your thing with Perdita. But there are 4 in the deck, and just again we value these other characters more in the early game. Pass over to them. They ink an Ariel and sing 1 jump ahead, taking them to 3. Fair enough. We draw Minnie. We ink the Piglet. Down comes the Simba. Really hurt to miss the 1 drop this game. And they throw down the new Madam Odie, who I do really like whenever you sing a song. Doesn't have to be her, just when you sing a song. Top card of your deck goes straight into Inkwell. So we draw a Rockstar Stitch. We do choose to ink in this circumstance. I know I want to play the Bare Necessities. I don't know what the rest of their deck is at this point, but like the fact that Odie's there and I've seen 1 jump ahead, it could be valuable to like just see what they're going on. So I do choose to throw the Rockstar away. We throw down the Mini just to try and be aggressive, and we immediately sing Bare Necessities. There's no need to take away their Bare Necessities because I'm not holding any songs, but I see the Friend Like Me. I'm like, okay, this is the Grandma Tala deck, 100%. And a couple of Aerials. So we throw away the Friend Like Me. So they've got double Aerial and Bare Necessities. They play one of those Aerials after drawing, find themselves at 1 jump ahead, ink a Bare Necessities, and they opt not to play the 1 jump ahead, which you'll see why in a moment. They pass over to us, we ink the big Pluto, throw down the Lucky, quest with our guys, and pass over to them. They throw down a second Madam Odie, ink a Cinderella, and now they play down an Aerial, find themselves at how far I'll go, and now they sing 1 jump ahead because it gives them double ramp from the top of the deck with the 2 Madam Odies on the board. So this takes them up to 9. Then they play how far I'll go, and this empties their hand, but they are able to look at the top 2, put 1 in the Inkwell, and keep 1. So that's all they've got going, but they've got 12 ink to play with. They pass to us, we draw a Perdita. I throw down the Rocket Stitch, trade into the Aerial. We choose to exert to draw cards. I get 2. I get a LeFou and a little rocket off of that, which sounds fine. We re-ready the Lucky, quest up, and I should have played the Lucky ability here again now, 100%. I'm not sure why I didn't in this circumstance. But they draw again. They challenge into Simba Bodyguard with both Ariel and Madame Odie, which takes her out, and they were able to find Rapunzel off of one of those last 2 cards. We know they inked 1. They draw 2 cards, and then that finds them the Surfer Stitch, and I just laughed at this point. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Early game, you've seen all your combo, your Ariels, your one jump ahead, your Madame Odies, and then as soon as you're at the right point, you just get all the draw. I couldn't believe it. I think I was on my own, just sitting there like, I can't believe this, man. What is happening? They ink a Grand Martala, pass to us, we find Maui. Down goes the little rocket to trade into the Ariel. We also take out the Madame Odie with our LeFou. We exert the Lucky, drawing me 3 cards, but I only get a 1 card draw off of this, which really hurt. Really hurt me not doing this last turn. I'm really not sure why I did. I do have a feeling at one point, a couple of points, I was like, I forgot that it's an exert ability, and in my head I was like, oh, it's a questing ability, and I've already quested with you and then re-readied you with LeFou, so I can't do it again. Some games I knew that wasn't the case, and again, just something that was going through my head, but it was wrong. We ink the Snow White, we quest with Minnie, pass over to them, they throw, and now they're finding their bodies. Now they're finding their big bodies, so down comes Cogsworth. They quest up with everything, taking them to 5, and that... What? Did I shuffle your deck? Are you sure you shuffled your deck, my guy? But you gotta laugh. They throw down the Hades, get rid of one of our guys. We throw down the Maui, takes out the Rapunzel, just because the Cogsworth is there giving resists, but thankfully I hit for 6, so I am able to take them out. We ink a Rockstar, throw down a Gothel. I know I just need big bodies. We quest with the Mini. There's no point questing with the LeFou and just giving up for nothing, because again, if I find another Lucky, then that's potentially what I need for game, just that extra body, which will go from 1 quester to 2 quester. So you've got to be really careful with giving up characters for nothing in this deck. Now they find the big Grand Martala. And a friend like me, like all of this off, like from nothing. How far I'll go, found 1 card into Rapunzel, into Surfer Stitch, into Cogsworth, into Hades, into Grand Martala, into another friend like me. I couldn't believe it, mate. Bruh. But yeah, look at all that ramp, and then even more from Grand Martala. There is 17 ink, my guys. They quest, no, they're not questing up, they're just gaining lore because of Grand Martala. They go into Maui, taking even less than they should because of Cogsworth. Quest themselves up to 14. We draw Rapunzel. I get a 3-card draw. I'm not sure if there's anything I could do here, but I draw anyway to try and see. I double into the Cogsworth because they themselves don't have resist. Throw down the Foo to re-ready the Gothel so that I can take out the Surfer Stitch. So I got as much out of my turn as I possibly could. If I had another Rocket Stitch, then I would have been able to take out this Madame Odie and stop myself from losing a next turn. And I know people might be saying, well, you've got a Perdita there, you could have played that. But then I wouldn't have been able to play the other cards that I played that I needed to take out the board. Like, I wouldn't have been able to play LeFou. So I'm not able to do it, so we just throw down Lucky, but I know it's game because they've got Quest for 5 on board, and all they need to do is ink, which gains them 1 ink from Tala, and Quest for game. I could not believe. And then they declined the rematch. They were like, I ain't doing that again. Decline. I couldn't believe it, my guys. I couldn't believe it. And if you too cannot believe what you just saw, let me... just type "can't believe it" in comments. I need some support here. That's not normal, my guys. Anyway, next game we're against Emerald Amber. Oh, this is Greenfasa. So we're going first. Yeah, so we throw away all of this. I keep the bare necessities. I shouldn't have. Not against Greenfasa. I don't. Yeah, that probably wasn't necessary. But again, the scouting is always good, and like they're bound to be playing a song or two. Well, not necessarily. It's Greenfasa, so yeah. Just from seeing Emerald Amber, I probably should have thought you're not going to be running. Like they're probably running bare necessities, but yeah, I probably should have thrown that. But never mind. It's too late now. Once again, we don't find our Pluto, which sucks, but that's how it be. We ink LeFou, throw down our 1-drop Stitch, and pass. They ink a Piglet. And down goes the Cursed Merfolk. We find a little rocket, ink a LeFou. Down comes the Piglet for a nice curve. We're happy to ink with the Stitch. They have no way of getting rid of this Stitch as far as I'm aware of. Ink a Flynn Rider. Quest up, throw down a new dog of their own and pass. We find a Maui who is inked. Throw down our Simba in Bodyguard so that Piglet is able to quest for 3. Then I'm perfectly happy to challenge into this Cursed Merfolk and throw away one of these lucky rockets. That's fine with me. It's not like I've got much of a hand anyway. And again, we need to get it off the board and stop them questing so aggressively. They ink and throw down Kit, who bounces our Piglet back to our hand, which makes sense. Don't want us questing for 3 again next turn. We are quite lucky in drawing the Rockstar. We ink the Bare Necessities. We put him straight down. Quest and quest, because like they can double into Simba if they want to, but then that takes them out. And they're not taking out the Simba. And yeah, my Rockstar Stitch is nice and safe. And from next turn, I can start playing down low cost drops and drawing some cards. So nice to have. They throw down a Rockstar Stitch of their own and sing Bare Necessities with their kit. They do not get a hit. Quest up with a Rockstar and pass over to me. We find a second little rocket, who I choose not to exert because I want to challenge with them and go into the Rockstar. If I didn't find the second little rocket, like if I hadn't topped that second little rocket, I still could have done this by going in with Little Rocket and Simba or Little Rocket and Rockstar Stitch. But because I'm able to find 2, I think this is a far better play because then it also allows me to take out Kit, survive the hit, and then quest with Stitch to 11. And again, I've got a 2-cost character in my hand, so I can start drawing next turn. They ink Mufasa and choose to extend with Doc and Flynn, where you could make an argument where they should have inked one of those and then played the Mufasa, but I'm so far ahead now, and next turn I'm questing to 15, they need to be a bit faster really, and they probably need to hope that next turn they draw like a genie, because with Doc they would be able to immediately play it. So I do think that is the right move on their half. We draw Teeth and Ambitions, we throw down the Piglet, who I do exert to draw another card. We find a Mother Gothel, who I also extend to draw a card. We sing Teeth and Ambitions with Simba, putting the damage onto Stitch and taking out the Flynn. Just deny them everything. Quest up to 14, and then that's game right there and then. And they decline in my rematch. So they didn't get their early Mufasa off, but we were just able to just be more aggressive than they were in the long run. This, I believe, is the final game. I believe it to be true. I believe it to be true. It is true. Going second against Emerald, Amethyst, Tempo. So going second, I keep the Bare Necessities. Important in this game. Again, once they put down their Ursula, I want to try and deny them the Mother Knows Best or the friends on the other side. Argument to be made to have kept Gothel, but I still feel like Pluto is very important, so I just want to dig aggressively for it. We are able to find one. They're going first. They ink a Madam in Fox. Down goes the Cursed Merfolk. Because they put down Cursed Merfolk, I do opt to go with the Stitch as opposed to the Pluto, so that they're not just sitting there questing ahead of me too much. I'm happy to throw one of the Bare Necessities. I want the Pluto, I want the Rapunzel, and I want the Teeth and Ambitions as well, because I know they're going to be playing a lot of these low-cost characters that would be taken out by Teeth and Ambitions, such as the Merfolk. They ink a Tinkerbell. Down comes Flynn Rider. Quest up, pass over to us. We find a Sumerian Talisman, which I ink. Yeah, I think just because, again, I value the rest of these cards in my hand a lot more, even though Sumerian Talisman wouldn't have been a terrible shout. But again, a lot of their characters aren't... I mean, they got the foxes. Yeah, like, it would have been nice to keep, but I just value the other cards in my hand more. But we throw down Bodyguard Simba. I challenge into the Merfolk. I choose to throw away the Pluto, because, again, then it's in the discard for when I get to Perdita turn. Yeah, it's just the card I value the least out of the cards in my hand. There's an argument that I should have thrown the Perdita, but in my head it was just like, well, I'll get to this soon enough and then I can just replenish the Pluto. And yeah, there's like, Pluto isn't a fundamental piece to get something online in the next 2 turns. An argument could be made that I should have thrown Perdita, but that's what I went with. Pass to them, they draw, they ink one of their Ursulas and throw down a second one. We find a little rocket. I immediately sing this Bare Necessities with Simba, and we are able to take away their friends on the other side. So that's very much how we want to play against this deck. Take away that only tempo option that they could get for free next turn by double singing it. We choose to ink the Teeth and Ambitions, throw down the little rocket, and pass over to them. No point. Yeah, they if they want to take out Simba, they would have to double in, which makes no sense because they take out their Flynn Rider and then their Ursula is just vulnerable for me to take out the next turn. They ink a Flynn Rider, throw down a Goat, going up to 3, and pass. We draw a little Rocket, who gets thrown onto the field straight away. Again, I was really denied ink here, and I definitely did not want to ink the Rapunzel, like, not with no other card draw options in my hand. If I draw a Lucky, then I will ink the Rapunzel. But yeah, I want to hold it, but yeah, it hurt to miss ink. They took a long turn and then quested with Flynn Rider, throw down the kit to return our baby Stitch, and they choose to just pass very wisely, because they have to be aware that I can, if they exert Quest of Ursula, then I can get Rapunzel value, which they have to read that I'm playing. We drew a second Rapunzel, which didn't feel good, but at least we can ink it. Throw down a baby Stitch. We challenge into the Flynn Rider. I choose to just get rid of the Perdita. I'm really hoping I have my Rapunzel online soon. They throw down a rabbit to draw another card, and again, they play it absolutely right, just keeping conserved and leaving everything as is. We draw a mini, who we're able to throw down, and once again pass. It is a stalemate. They are able to draw more cards off of rabbit. They ink a snake, and down goes the cursed merfolk. They got a nice wide board, but they still choose to be patient. We draw another Perdita. I'm like, where are my uninkables, man? We just quest with the mini. Like, there's no point me questing with my board because they just take me out and leave me with nothing. I really want them to start questing so that I can get some value off of Rapunzel, draw some more cards, get some resources to hopefully combat this board. They throw down a rabbit, ink a Chernabog's minions. They do start questing up a little bit, but the rabbits is perfectly reasonable to quest up with, but they keep everything else safe. We find a Sumerian talisman. I challenge into the rabbit, which doesn't take me out, but is able to get my Rapunzel online at last. Draw 2 cards. We ink the piglet. I choose to go into this rabbit. I need to slow them down. They've got a lot of questing on board, and as it stands, they don't have anything evasive, but we let them draw a card. We challenge into the cursed merfolk again. I need to slow them down. We throw away our Mother Gothel, and then we just pass. I could have gone in. Yeah, so the reason I didn't go into the rabbit there with Baby Stitch is because I want a 1-character answer to this Ursula when she becomes exerted. Otherwise, I've got to go in with 2 other characters, which I'm just going to lose tempo if I do that. So I choose not to. They throw down the genie, which hurts, returning my mini, which I think they probably should have just kept, and then they could take it out next turn. But they challenge into my Simba with Goat. They take out my Stitch with their rabbit. Quest up with the other one, quest up with Kit, throw down ink Flynn Rider and pass. Now we find Lucky a little bit too late. We ink the mini, throw down the Perdita to get ourselves a little rocket. Take out the Goat with Rapunzel because she lives it, but they gain a lore. We get our little rockets to balance the field a little bit, but the problem is we have no answers for this genie, just nothing at all, and that is one of the deck's weaker aspects, that it just doesn't have really evasive answers, unless mini is enough, but we don't have a way of raising her strength. So really, like, you want to have won the game by the time Genie gets online, or you want a field where you've got 4 or 5 and they're bouncing one thing and they just can't keep up with your tempo, and they just had so much more field advantage than us by the time Genie came out that there was no way we were going to be able to combat it. We draw a Piglet, we quest with Perdita, throw down the little rocket, take it into the Ursula, we throw down Lucky and Piglet, and this is my final stand essentially, but I still don't feel like it's going to be enough because I know I can't deal with this Genie. They quest up to 19 and down goes the Goat to just finish the score. And yeah, that is all the games. So it's a deck that feels good. It can really pop off. It can deal with so far things that I think are like high meta threats. But I want to show you examples of it doing well against it and not so well. I think the uninkable count is too high, to be honest. Again, evasive can be a real issue if you don't already have board control by the time things like Genie or big evasive characters. Anything that Mini can't deal with can just be a problem. But yeah, the deck's fun. Once again, full transparency that I played maybe 15, 20 games. So it is absolutely a first impressions analysis. Some people might argue that it's not a great marketing strategy from me to like show games where I'm not always playing at the best and I'm misplaying, but I don't see the point in that whatsoever. It's important to show mistakes and recognize them, and it's important to be honest about how much you feel like you've mastered the deck. And this is just very much a first impressions, for like just my initial thoughts, and saying, hey, if you like the look of this, go away, have a go with it. Let me know what you think. Like, add to the discussion. Do you think it's got more legs to it and I need to give it another try? Do you think it just needs some changes in the deck? Or do you agree that it's fun, can pop off, but isn't always going to see the most consistency? But again, Max in a 101 person tournament led it to a top 4, so clearly well piloted by them. Be really interesting to know your thoughts on the deck and your impressions. But yeah, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana, hit the like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.